I've never really cared too much what it was called because I've always just been hanging on for dear life as I've gone through that section of trail. I don't necessarily have to be in first right now, but I do need to be in position. Hey, do you guys want to go mushing today? Today is going to find us trying to handle this section of trail from Nikolai back to Rainy Pass. This section of trail is going to be important, and this is really where the rubber meets the road when it comes to racing. I think we're going to find ourselves outside of Nikolai and on our way over to Rhone. This is, again, a challenging 72, 73 miles of trail that we will have already been over, so we'll know just how challenging it's going to be. If we have some fresh snow out there, it won't be that big of a deal. But if it's more like it usually is, it's going to be rough, it's going to be bouncy, it's going to be bumpy, it's going to be grimy and dirty and rocks and dirt and trees and sticks more than snow. This section of trail beats up mushers even when we're fresh, when we're just getting started on this race. So can you imagine having to run this section of trail on the way back? Now that we're exhausted and tired? I think the one saving grace is that the dogs will be calmed down a little bit. Now they're going to be several hundred miles into this race. They're going to be into a better just traveling mode, and they're not going to be just driving like crazy. So I think it's going to be a lot easier for the human to make it through the second time than it was the first time, but still, it's going to be a challenge. You're going to see a lot of teams camp in between Nikolai and Rhone, I think. Just how the trail breaks down, I think Rainy Pass is the natural stopping point for this day. Instead of doing a 73-mile run straight from Rhone or from Nikolai back to Rhone, having to take some sort of a long break, the problem is Rhone is a really awkward leave, if you will, because it's only 33 miles up to Rainy Pass. Too short to be running and camping again at this point in the race unless something's going wrong. I think it makes more sense to look at this section from Nikolai to Rhone, Rhone to Rainy Pass. Look at this as like a 105-mile section, and I think that's how most people are going to do it, is they're going to go Nikolai, they're going to go 50 or 55 miles, they're going to stop in their camp, then they're going to go right through Rhone. I mean, again, you can't underestimate this. This is taking on the Farewell Burn, some of the roughest trail, immediately followed by going back up the Dalzell Gorge between Rhone and Rainy Pass. But this is going to leave them in Rainy Pass, which is an easy striking range of Skwenta, which is another long mandatory rest of 8 hours, and then the final push to the finish. So I think that's going to be a really common play, is Nikolai, camp out in the burn somewhere before you reach Rhone. I guess Buffalo Tunnels maybe would be a better word for it. I've never really cared too much what it was called because I've always just been hanging on for dear life as I've gone through that section of trail. And this is going to be a tough section, man. It's hard going down the Dalzell Gorge, but now we got to walk back up it. And here's where having a team that's not tired out is going to make a world of difference. I think it's likely you could see teams make up a ton of time between Rhone and Rainy Pass if you have a well-rested, fully charged dog team ready to attack that steep mountain climb. That's going to be on some ice, it's going to be scrambling, it's going to be slippery. There's going to be a trench in the middle of the trail where on our way out, every musher was riding their brake, digging this kind of notch into the trail. Now going back up it, it's going to make uneven footing for the dogs. It's going to make it difficult for the musher to get behind the sled and push with uneven footing and slippery footing oftentimes. This is going to be a bear of a run. Probably going to be one of the most important deciding days, at least late in the race, for how things are going to shake out. I think today is going to make a lot of decisions on the final placing order. I'm not going to say that all those decisions are going to be made. The last day of this race is going to be a tough one too. Once the mushers get to Rainy Pass, they're looking at a 70-mile run from Rainy Pass back to Skwenta. Now I am omitting the Finger Lake checkpoint, and maybe that's a mistake, but I don't think that's just the race breaks up too easily to go from Nikolai, 55 miles stop, go all the way to Rainy Pass stop, leaves you 70 miles to Skwenta, which is a reasonable run going into your mandatory 8. I think that's the obvious way to play it. I don't think you're going to see too many mushers do it different ways unless their team, they feel, is not really prepared to do those bigger runs, and they might try to chop it into smaller pieces and take more shorter rests. But I think that's going to be less common unless this trail is incredibly difficult, which is possible. It's going to be a lot of variables here, but I do know as a musher what I'm thinking about going into this this day on the race. Getting back up the Dalzell Gorge is going to be a challenge. I think my least favorite section of trail is the first probably 15 or 20 miles from Roan heading towards Nikolai. We're gonna have to go back through all that. I think really the most important thing on a dog team management and racing level, if you will, we need to be in position. I don't necessarily have to be in first right now, but I do need to be in position. We're getting close enough to the end of the race that I need to be in striking range of whoever's in the front of this race, if that's not me. If I am in first, if I'm the musher out front, then I'm gonna be thinking about two things. One is obviously trying to stay in front, but more importantly, being ready to fight them off when they do catch up. I've pulled this one a few times. If I have, let's say, a 2-hour lead and there is a team gaining on me, I'm not that concerned about them catching up with me. I want to make it challenging. I want to make them pay the price to catch up with me. I want to make them burn up as much fuel as possible to catch me. But more importantly is I need to make dang sure that my team is ready to take on any challenger once they do catch up with me. I don't mind having a team right here beside me, but I do need to have the best dog team. I need to have the team that's fully charged, that's fully rested, that has good body weight, that's hydrated, that's ready to rock and roll. And when I ask them, hey, do you guys want to go mushing today? They're going to jump up off the straw and say, heck yeah, I don't care if it's day 8 of the Iditarod, day 9, day 12. We're ready to rock and roll. So that's what I'm thinking about at this point, is positioning a team to be ready to catch up if I need to. And if I am in front, then seeing what do I need to do for my team to prepare them to take on any challengers. You're gonna have to be ready to take on a challenger, and it's gonna be somebody good. I could see there being some really awesome battles in these this day before the last day of the Iditarod, where we're ready to take on the last day of the race and be the toughest dog team to beat out there. That's kind of the goal.